Good evening, chosen ones. Welcome to Virtual Beelzebub TV. I am your host, Beelzebub, and welcome back to the pit. So today I thought I'd throw another D&D plot hook at you. Yes, plot hook, not one shot, because I realized I'm not throwing any maps or monster stat blocks at you. They're just ideas to spur inspiration into your mind as the DM in case you have a little bit of writer's block. And today's plot hook will revolve around the evil castle in the sky. Yes, I know, very original, but it's generic for a reason. You see, we're going to go extra generic, flip it, and hope that makes things interesting for the party. So, the party gets informed by kings from all around the continent, telling them that all of their princesses have been kidnapped by the big bad evil guy. Let's call him Volodomir. The Volodomir, king of the undead, right? And he's got this big ass gothic castle in the sky, and he's got armies of undead at his beck and call, and they have no means of taking their armies to this castle in the sky, because I don't know if you know this, but infantry and cavalry can't fly. But the party has some sort of advantage. If they have a flying NPC, I'd give them some sort of crystal that requires them to fly up to the lair, drop it, and then when they drop it, it immediately teleports all of their allies who are also holding a crystal of the same variety. Or if you've got a wizard with Dimension Door, just put the layer 500 feet straight up and they can Dimension Door up. Or if all else fails, nothing wrong with a scroll of Dimension Door and or teleport. Now, what they do when they first get up there, they pop up, they run into undead. Presumably they fight the undead. Low-level parties can fight zombies and skeletons, nothing wrong with that. If they're high enough level, maybe have them fight an undead beholder. That'd be a cool little mini-boss. But regardless, they are going to fight their way through the guards at this lair, and they're going to fight their way all the way inside, at which point they kick in the doors, and they see Volodomir glued to the wall 15 feet off the ground with sovereign glue, and he is crying his eyes out. And this should immediately tip off the party that something is amiss. So they will, presumably the party will then walk over to Volodomir, who is stranded on his own castle wall with sovereign glue, and the party will talk to him and ask him what happened. And he will say that as he was kidnapping princesses for his own nefarious means, perhaps he wanted just to collect some wives, maybe he doesn't really matter why. It's just what big bad evil guys do. They just capture princesses. I'm pretty sure there's a legal requirement that once you sell your soul to the devil, you also must collect princesses. Regardless, the most recent princess he captured from whatever kingdom is in your campaign was secretly just really powerful. Now you can make her a very unassuming, feeble-looking female who is in fact an archmage, a very powerful mage. Or, you know what, maybe she's just been hit in the gym and she's become a, level 15 barbarian. Whatever you decide. She is a high-level character who is who is even higher leveled than the guy they were terrified of and sent to defeat. It turns out that these princesses, after they were freed by the one powerful princess, and she just kind of glued him to the a well, they all kind of had the run of the place, and they had full access to his laboratory, his library, a undead army at their beck and call, all the wealth and resources they could ever want, and they've just got a run of this massive gothic palace, and they're like, hey, life's pretty good up here. Leaving? Nah. Leaving sounds like a trash idea. Leaving is for losers. Leaving is what losers do, because they're in the lap of luxury with everything they could ever want. Why would they want to go back home? Screw home. Back home, they were... princesses are effectively just political bargaining chips. You can marry off your princess to another lord for political power. You know, they are to be seen and traded, but not heard. They have oftentimes no agency whatsoever. So now that they have control of this big Gothic castle, they have a ton of agency now. And why would they want to leave? And this party, who has presumably been offered a very large sum of money by multiple kingdoms to bring their princesses back, probably is not going to be motivated to just be like, oh, you're happy? Well, I'm just going to eat and leave you to your business. I mean, if they're a particularly empathetic party, maybe they'll leave it at that. Just be like, oh, you're cool, then we're cool. I'm just going to go back and tell your parents, who are the most powerful people in the world, that we had a chance to bring you back home and decided, nah, that'll go well. So between the fact that the most powerful people in the world are demanding that they bring these princesses home, and a whole lot of money if they do, party's probably not just going to leave it at that. So they've got to figure out how to take these princesses home without killing or seriously injuring them. And this is a double whammy. One, just fighting an open battle, this one princess was strong enough to fight a Dark Lord and his army of the undead and enslave them. And he was already a hard enough fight on their own. That was already a potentially deadly encounter, and she's even stronger? Fighting is something that they could potentially do, but obviously it's not optimal. So what I would recommend that you do with this encounter, like obviously if your party is the fighting type, they don't care about roleplay, then just get into melee with the princess, beat the crap out of her, and drag her back home kicking and screaming. That's always an option. But you could also use this as an opportunity for roleplay. If you've got a roleplay heavy group, then you could interview the princesses, get to know them. I would definitely make these princesses personalities that mirror their own, and I would match their life experiences as much to the party members as possible. Like if you've got one edgy character with a tragic backstory, it's going to meet an edgy gothic princess with an even edgier backstory, and just have a pissing contest over whose life was harder. It's like, oh, your mother was murdered, both of my parents were murdered, and then resurrected, murdered again, and then resurrected again. You know, whatever. Big edgelord pissing contest. Maybe you've got a friendly, jovial, light-hearted character, and they find a friendly, jovial, light-hearted princess, and they just go and get into shenanigans around the castle. You know, whatever. Whatever your party is into, make the princesses meet them at their RP level. And they should be using this and gathering intel on what would motivate the princesses to leave of their own free will. And just to throw some examples at you, maybe one of the princesses has a pet that she left behind who was just worried sick and has not stopped crying and whining ever since she left. Oh, how sad. Maybe another princess has a best friend she hasn't seen in ages and she's just dying to get back home. Maybe one of them does actually want to go back home, but she's being intimidated by the other princesses not to speak up and complain, but she actually wants nothing to do with this gothic castle lifestyle and was perfectly content being a normal princess, you know? Create characters that that'll interact well with your party, that have motivations other than I am princess, you know? And I would encourage your party to roleplay out convincing them to leave, and then figure out what to do with the Dark Lord, because it's currently super glued to the wall with no weapons or armor. So if the party is the murdering type, it wouldn't be too hard to just take that head off. Or maybe the party decides that, hey, wait, we don't want to interrupt their fun up here. Everyone down below is going to kill us if we go down empty-handed. Let's just join forces with the princesses, take over this castle. Hell yeah, free castle. You know, whatever. So I feel like this is one of those storylines that you, as the DM, can really tailor to your party and kind of take it in the direction you want to go. Like, if you want this to be, hey, free base full of undead servants, and all you have to do is sweet-talk some gullible princesses who've never worked a day in their life, this is a way to do it. If you want them to have an epic fight with a mistress of the undead, this is how you can do it, you know? I feel like this is really open-ended, and I don't have one end-all be-all ending to this, because there isn't one that'll work for everyone. So yeah, take this, think on it, come up with your own variations that will make you and your party happy, and just run with it. Have fun with it. And that's all I have for you today. I hope you enjoyed, and I will see you next time.
Pack up your sins and go to the devil in Hades. You'll meet the finest of gentlemen and the finest of ladies. They'd rather be down below than up above. Hades is full of thousands of Joneses and Browns, Houligans, Cohens and Brady's. You'll hear a heavenly tune, the wind of the devil, because the jazz band started picking it, put a drink in it, a jazzy kick in it. They've got a couple of old reformers in heaven, making them go to bed at 11.